2, 1. Oh, I think we're up. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us here on Fox Local. I'm Elise Seedy. Let's get you caught up on one of the big stories of the day, and we'll start by taking a live look at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport to just do a quick refresher on what happened to a Cartersville man. Remember, he was accused of threatening to shoot up the airport here in Atlanta. This happened back on October 20th. Well, he's set to face a judge today. We're talking about Billy Cagle, again, due in court for an arraignment hearing. So this morning we have our Angelique Proctor, who is joining us live with more on that and the charges that he's facing. So, Angelique, good morning.
Good morning to you, Elise. Billy Joe Cagle wore an orange jumpsuit this morning for his court appearance. It was actually an arraignment here in federal court. He pleaded not guilty to those 3 charges. We also learned today that a federal court has already indicted him, or shall I say a federal grand jury already indicted the Cartersville man in this case. Now, the Bartow County convicted felon had just one of his 3 lawyers with him today. Federal prosecutors have said in open court in the past that Cagle planned to shoot up Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, and that was on October 20th. And they say the only thing that prevented a mass shooting at the airport were his family members who called police and informed them of Cagle's plan. Now, Cagle's attorneys continue to call this a medical issue and not a criminal issue. They say he was off his meds and was actually having a mental breakdown. Now, attorney Preston Halliburton reiterated that today. Take a listen.
Today we entered a not guilty plea that again protects his procedural and substantive due process rights that are afforded to all citizens. We ask that everyone reserve judgment until you hear all the facts in this case. We continually are treating this case as a medical issue and not an issue of malice criminal behavior. We do not believe our client currently is a threat to the public. That's part of our obligations as attorneys, to make sure that our client understands everything that's going on. And you know, increasingly across this country, we see mental health as issues. So we wanted to make sure we preserve his constitutional right to a mental health evaluation and competency, even though we pled not guilty today.
And as you heard, attorneys did not rule out a competency evaluation for Cagle. They indicated doctors will do that in the coming weeks. Now, Judge Elizabeth McBath ensured that all of Cagle's constitutional rights were protected. Cagle's attorneys did waive a formal reading of the indictment this morning. Prosecutors turned over body cam as well as airport surveillance video that all of us have seen from Hartsfield-Jackson today. Defense attorneys also said there's really been a lot of interest in this case, that they're getting a lot of calls, and they said they will likely add a 4th attorney to this case. That is the very latest from the federal courthouse. Elise, back to you.
Did you do? All right, another story that we're following today, a new special prosecutor for the Georgia election interference case has to be appointed by noon today, or the case could be dismissed. So our Deidre Dukes is on top of this story for us. Deidre, good morning to you. That deadline at this point, less than an hour away, so you're talking about that and next steps in all of this. Deidre, good morning.
Good morning, and we did get a word at around 9:30 or so, just before 9:30, that in fact a decision had been made by Pete Skandalakis. Now, Pete Skandalakis is executive director of the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia. Now, he has been tasked with finding a special prosecutor to handle this case, or else a judge had indicated some weeks back that the case would in fact be dismissed. Now, this all started because Fonnie Willis, who actually was handling this case initially, she was recused from the case back in mid-September, and that is when a Fulton County Superior Court judge did tell Mr. Skandalakis that he either had to find someone to take on this case or that the case would be dismissed, and the deadline to make that announcement was today. And so again, Pete Skandalakis announcing this morning that he in fact would take the case on himself. Now, in announcing he was taking the case on, on. He said he was doing so because he could not find another prosecutor willing to take the case. He said he contacted several prosecutors who all declined to do so. He said he gave it careful thought, deliberation. He said it would have been simple to allow the judge's decision to lapse, or simply inform the court that no one would take the case, allowing it therefore to be dismissed. But he did not believe that that was the right course of action. So he said the public has legitimate interest in the outcome of the case, and given his familiarity of the case, he made the decision to assign the case to himself. Now, we talked to an attorney just yesterday about how this might all play out, and the challenge that we have been speculating for the past couple weeks that Mr. Skandalakis might have in finding a special prosecutor to take on this case. And here's what he had to say.
Generally, this is a pretty red state, and politically, if you cross the president, there's consequences. And he's going through his list of people he doesn't care for, including the Fulton DA. So I don't see anybody picking this up 5 years after the fact, essentially where we are now. Half the people have been pardoned federally. That doesn't mean state charges can't come, but at some point, what's happened has happened, acknowledge it, and it's just time to move on, because you can't even prosecute the president at this point since he's in office. So it's going to sit for another 3-4 years before anything happens.
And again, this morning, Pete Skandalakis, who serves as executive director of the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia, did announce via a news release, a written statement, that he, in fact, had assigned himself to the case, saying that he will take it on. And also, we heard this morning from President Trump's lead Georgia defense counsel, Steve Sadow. He issued a statement following the announcement saying, "This politically charged prosecution has to come to an end. We remain confident that a fair and impartial review will lead to a dismissal of the case against President Trump." But once again, Pete Skandalakis saying he will take on the case, saying that he is now in the process of reviewing the evidence in the case as he determines what his next steps will be, Elise, in this investigation that has been going on for some years now.
Yeah, I mean, this has been going on a long time. I got to know, I mean, was this a surprising move for him to take up the case himself? So interesting that this is a case nobody else wanted to take on, Deidre.
Well, it was one of those things, at least frankly, where there was a lot of speculation that this case might simply die on the vine, so to speak, because it was common knowledge that Pete Skandalakis was going to find it very challenging to find anyone, a prosecutor, to take on this case. And he, of course, did say he did have trouble doing so. But again, he has said that he himself is going to take the charge and will be taking this case on.
Very interesting. All right, our Deidre Dukes with this new information for us on this Friday. Deidre, thank you so much. We appreciate you. All right, I want to get you to a big story that we have been following today. This happened in DeKalb County. It's where a train collided with an 18-wheeler at a really busy intersection in Stonecrest, so created quite a mess this morning. It happened on Turner Hill Road at Covington Highway, and our Mark Teichner has the very latest on that.
Well, all you need to do is take a look at what's left of the big rig to realize just how lucky the driver is. His name is Torrey Davis, and he was hauling some vehicles this morning when he reached the intersection here at Turner Hill Road and Covington Highway in Stonecrest. Well, unfortunately for him, his big rig got stuck on the railroad crossing, and when it did, the next thing he knew, that railroad crossing activated. He saw the lights come on, and next thing he knew, the train light was also heading towards him, and that's when Mr. Davis realized it was time to get out of that big rig. He jumped out of the trailer just in time. He is safe and sound, and he certainly is happy that he was able to get out just in the nick of time.
Once I realized that it had got stuck, I was saying to myself, Lord, don't let the train come. And the next thing you know, the light started flashing. I see my whole life flash before me. And just thank God that I'm here.
For hours, this intersection has remained closed here this morning in DeKalb County as folks from the railroad try to get the train moved and try to get what's left of that big rig out of the way as well. Reporting from DeKalb County, I'm Mark Teichner, Fox 5 News.
All right, it's 11:10 now. Let's get you caught up on the forecast. A really nice day outside as we take a live look out over downtown Atlanta, seeing sunshine and blue skies, which we love. And our meteorologist, Lauren Robinson, is joining us now. I mean, what a different point, Lauren, that we're at right now than Monday and Tuesday.
I know. We started the week in the brutalest of conditions.
Yeah.
It was so cold. It was dangerously cold even during the overnight and early morning hours. We're going to still stay a little chilly overnight tonight and into early tomorrow morning, but by this weekend we're seeing those highs in the middle 70s. We're going to forget all about that bitterly cold weather that has already passed. Now, as we take a look at those temperatures, we're slowly warming our way into the 70s. Most of us have made it into the 60s, still at 54 degrees up north in Blairsville, 57 right now in Canton, but we're at 66 right now downtown Atlanta, one of the warmer spots along with Noonan. So we're going to make it all the way into the low 70s, a lot like what we saw yesterday. So our 24-hour temperature change map, not too much different. We're a tad bit warmer, but we're not going to see the real warm up happen until Saturday and Sunday. Then we dip down a little bit again Monday after a weak cold front, and then we rebound as we move our way into the next work week. So let's take a look at what's going to be happening in the skies over the next few days. And that's really going to be a lot of nothing. That high pressure system right over North Georgia, that means sunny, dry conditions. Anytime you see that big H, expect sunny, dry conditions. And that's going to continue to influence our weather through the rest of the day today and even into our Saturday. Eventually, that high pressure system moves its way to the southeast, and we get a very weak cold front coming in from the northwest. That'll hit us in North Georgia by early Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon. Now, I say a weak cold front because it's only going to drop our afternoon highs by a few degrees and maybe bring a couple stray raindrops here or there. We're not expecting any sort of widespread showers and storms, and we're not expecting a big drop in temperatures either. That continues to move its way out Sunday night. We're cooler Monday in response to that, and then we rebound very quickly as we go through the middle of next week. So in the meantime, we're looking for those afternoon highs in the upper 60s to low 70s all across North Georgia. I think Rome and Atlanta looking like your couple of hot spots at around 73 degrees today. And you can see to the south, most of us in the lower 70s. To the north, some areas might max out in the upper 60s, but all in all, still above average for this time of year, with our seasonal highs being closer to 65 degrees. And we're going to continue to see this above average trend just stick around as long as that big H is influencing our weather across North Georgia. Now, overnight tonight, this is where we do still get a little chilly. Once the sun sets, we go overnight and into early tomorrow morning. Those clear skies, they have two different impacts. During the afternoon, clear skies help us to get a bit warmer. But overnight, if we still have clear skies, that actually cools us off more. So we're going to see those temperatures drop a little below average with those lows in the upper 30s, lower to middle 40s by early tomorrow morning. So we're going to look for a couple chilly mornings ahead, but take a look at these afternoon highs. We're going to be in the middle 70s Saturday and Sunday. Sunday is where we're looking for those very isolated couple of raindrops. We're also looking for that weak front to drop our temperatures just a bit. That's why I called it such a weak front, because we're only going from 74 on Sunday to 70 on Monday. And even those effects don't last too long because we're rebounding toward the middle of the week. But as we go through the middle of the week, we're also going to see a couple of very isolated raindrops return to the forecast. So really, this is going to be an extremely easy week to plan for because we don't have a whole lot going on. If you have those outdoor plans, we're looking for mostly sunny skies, a couple of maybe cloud cover here and there, light clouds passing through. Even today, we're going to see calm winds throughout the day, so that's not even going to be a factor. Tomorrow, as that warm weather is moving in, we will see breezy afternoon conditions ushering in the warmer temperatures, but we're not looking for, I guess, dangerous wind gusts, maybe up to around 20 miles per hour.
Okay.
So nothing too bad.
Big there. Very good. So two takeaways from what I'm looking at this extended forecast. So Saturday, of course, a big day. UGA taking on Texas at home, which should be a huge game. Weather-wise,
Perfect
couldn't get
football
much
weather.
better.
Right,
Yeah.
perfect football weather. I'm not exactly sure what time of the day the game is.
I think it's a 7:30.
Okay, that's
kickoff,
what,
so
that's
it's
what
a
I was
night game.
thinking. So,
yeah.
you know, once the sun sets, and it sets earlier now this time of year, so you do want to make sure you maybe have that sweatshirt or that hoodie because it's that time of year that once the sun sets, the temperatures tend to drop pretty quickly after that. But we're going to be dry. We're going to be pretty mild, so it's not going to be all too bad. Those overnight lows that you're seeing in the 40s and 50s, that happens early in the morning. morning. So
Okay.
by 7, 8, 9 o'clock, we're still seeing those temperatures likely in the 60s, maybe upper 50s. So
Very nice.
a little chilly out there,
and
but
a
not
nice
too bad.
forecast altogether.
Oh yeah, I think we deserve it. We started off the week pretty
Girl,
rough.
That part. Yes, we did. Meteorologist Lauren Robinson with us today. Lauren, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And we'll be right back. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to Fox Local. We're happy to have you with us on this Friday. So let's take a live look now at Capitol Hill. Want to get you caught up on some of what's happening there in Washington. Of course, we know that the federal shutdown is now over, but the consequences still remain from that slowed economic growth to political turmoil on Capitol Hill. So let's do a deep dive here. The shutdown signs are starting to come down. So specifically in D.C., we're talking about museums being reopened, the offices, federal offices being reopened there as well. But the record-setting shutdown has left some marks. The doors of the federal government open. Things are moving around, but around the country, furloughed federal workers are heading back in as well. So some movement there. But the markets had plenty to say about all of this yesterday. We saw a massive sell-off and beyond skepticism over tech stocks. It was fueled in part by overall economic uncertainty with that. So for one thing, the absence of key economic reports has meant no one's really sure of where things are headed. So just general uncertainty when it comes to the markets. The president's chief economic advisor says the economy will take a hit from the shutdown. So that's really no surprise there. And while the nation's airways are starting to return to normal and SNAP food benefits will soon be paid out, there's still, again, is just that uncertainty on when those full benefits will hit. And that certainly extends to Capitol Hill as well. So Democrats right now are questioning their Senator Chuck Schumer if he can still lead the Democratic caucus after the shutdown failed to achieve those goals. And while that internal struggle is continuing, Democrats do think they'll have the upper hand next month when the debate turns to health care. So, of course, that's something that is up in the air. There's a lot of discussion around health care premiums right now for Americans. Also, air travel. So starting to see some slow improvements when it comes to air travel. In fact, the FAA hasn't lifted that order, though, requiring flight cuts at 40 major airports. So we are still seeing some of those cuts and some of those delays, about 50 cancellations this morning, according to FlightAware at last check at Hartsfield-Jackson. Meanwhile, TSA workers who worked without pay, and if they continue to show up at work, they should get a $10,000 bonus. Air traffic controllers could get bonuses, too, and flights are expected to return to normal just before the holidays. So that is some really good news for passengers and for Americans, of course. So Secretary Kristi Noem said the bonuses will be paid in addition to back pay for all of those workers. So let's talk SNAP benefits right now. That's been a big question for millions of families around the country and millions right here in Georgia as well. So we're learning that life can start to get back to normal. That's because the Agriculture Department is saying most people should get those benefits this week and at the very latest on Monday. So certainly some good news there. I want to get you back to Washington as we take a live look right now at the White House. There was quite a bit of action that was happening there this weekend. Let me see if I can clear out the screen. There we go. The Fostering the Future executive order will provide career and education opportunities for children raised in foster care. Again, there we go. The White House is part of First Lady Melania Trump's Be Best initiative, and that focuses on the importance of the social, emotional, and physical health of children. So let's listen in to some of this initiative.
More than 15,000 young people age out of the foster care system, and unfortunately too many struggle to become self-sufficient. The order I will sign in a few moments will provide vital new resources to help young people transition out of the foster care system and live a very happy and a very successful life, very successful. With this order, I'm directing the heads of the key federal departments and agencies to establish a Fostering the Future program in coordination with our wonderful First Lady's office. They're coordinating, and they've already been coordinating for quite some time, and I think I hear it's going really well. You're going to have when she gets involved in things, it works, I can tell you that. Under this major new initiative, great American companies and institutions will be signing a pledge to invest in teaching, training, and mentoring America's youth who are transitioning out of the foster care system. This will help provide jobs, education, and personal development opportunities to fantastic young people who truly need and deserve them, and they're going to get them. A terrific example of the impact these programs can have is Eric Alvarez from Omaha, Nebraska, who is with us today. Where's Eric? Where is he? Stand up. Good-looking guy. Good-looking guy. Eric and his siblings were placed in foster care for a year when he was 9. He entered the child welfare system again when he was 15, and today he credits a mentoring and mentorship and work experience program for foster youth with helping him to finish high school and start his adult life. And he did really well in high school, by the way, really a great student. But he starts life on the right foot, right? Wouldn't you say? I mean, I think you better say yes, otherwise I'm in big trouble. Otherwise, I'm all by myself up here, Eric. That would be... I hear you're doing incredibly. Now, after graduating from the University of Nebraska and interning for Congressman Don Bacon, Eric is pursuing a master's degree at the George Washington University, and he is a cadet in the Air Force ROTC who will be commissioned as an officer upon graduation. And Eric, I just want to say, great job. You've really been outstanding, and I think that's probably why you were chosen out of so many people. You've done a fantastic job. Congratulations. The new initiative we're establishing will also create an opportunity for foster youth to take full responsibility of the federal tax credit scholarship program established by the One Big Beautiful Bill. So many things, tax cuts and regulation cuts, so many things. The biggest ever passed in the history of our country. I call it the Great Big Beautiful Bill. I changed the name a little bit to make it even more sublime. But it is, there's so many things in there for everybody. We had a choice. We could have done it in 9 different bills or try for the one, and everybody said, no, let's do it in 9. It'll be easier. Actually, it wouldn't have gotten done. And J.D. and I and Scott and all of us got together, and we said, let's give it a shot, and we got it passed. And It was an amazing thing, but it's going to help a lot of people. There's never been anything like it. It's in one bill. There's never been anything close. And when you see what's going on with the Democrats, we're lucky we got it passed because we don't have to do anything. All we have to do is implement it now, and we'll be implementing it all over the place. If you think about it, no tax on tips, right? No tax on Social Security, all of the different things, no tax on overtime. You get deductions if you buy a car. You take an interest rate deduction, an interest deduction against your income tax. It's never happened. Nothing like this has really ever been approved to this extent. And so it is one great, big, beautiful bill. But using the tax credit will expand occupational training, education, and financial literacy programs for the foster youth and make it possible for more of them to attend the school of their choice. Choice is a great word for a lot of reasons, but it's a great thing with education. And we'll also create the new Fostering the Future online platform to help young people find the access and really get great housing, very, very important and beautiful housing, health care, and other resources available to foster youth and those transitioning out of foster care. And we think that's going to happen with many, many people, many more than you have right now. Under the Trump administration, we believe that every American child deserves a safe and loving home, and we're determined to support the amazing families who help make that happen. And we have some of those families in the room today, and I just want to thank you all for being in the White House. There is no place like this, and we want to thank you very much for being here. We're great families. Thank you very much. Faith-based, thank you. Faith-based nonprofits are the nation's most trusted institutions, interacting with the foster care system and practicing Christians and more. Think of this, more than twice as likely foster care. They'll adopt the general population. They adopt to it so easily. When they get out, they adopt to it just like it's just becomes second nature. It's amazing. Yet radical left policies in states nationwide make it much harder, not easier, for those families to open up their homes. But we're working on that. We're dealing with the radical left. It's not easy, but we're winning, and we're winning big. That's why with the order that we're doing today, we're taking the ridiculous woke policies that discriminate against Christians and families of faith. As president, I will always stand by us. We will stand by our country, and we will stand for religious liberty. So important. We stand for religious liberty. The Bible tells us, thank you. Thank you. The Bible tells us that one of the measures of any society is how it cares for vulnerable children and orphans. So important, and it's so big in the Bible. So as we make America great again, we are going to protect American children in foster care, and we're going to ensure that they will never, ever be forgotten. These children will never be forgotten, and they're going to grow up to be unbelievable, strong, smart, wealthy, productive citizens. So once more, I want to thank Melania for the great job she does, not here only just as First Lady. She's a great First Lady, and I want to thank you very much, honey, and the foster families and leaders here today. You're very special people, and we're going to work together, and we're going to have some absolutely incredible results. Thank you all for being here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, so some really good news there. The president there talking about the Fostering the Future executive order. I want to mention this too. 400,000 children in the U.S. are in the foster care system, so no doubt this will be a really positive steps in their future. So our time is 11:28, and we're back right after this. Welcome back, everyone. 11:30 now. Happy Friday. We're happy to have you with us. All right, let's take a look at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport to just get caught up on what's happening as far as flight delays and cancellations here. So air travel is certainly improving now that the government is back open. So it's so good to see that. 6% of flights have been canceled. The number, though, is not going up, which is really good news. It had been scheduled to go up to 8% yesterday, and then I think by this weekend up to 10%. So we're not seeing that happen at least. But looking at the very latest numbers here from FlightAware, total delays at Hartsfield-Jackson, we're seeing about 27 of those. And as far as cancellations go, that's at 52. I believe it was at 85 yesterday, though. So certainly seeing a few improvements when it comes to that. So we'll keep our eyes on this and keep you updated on the very latest when it comes to that. And I think we're also going to have soon a live report out at Hartsfield-Jackson with Chelsea Torres, too, to get us updated on what she's seeing there and what she has heard from passengers there as well. But let's talk AI now when it comes to holiday shopping, when it comes to travel. If you're not using AI, then you really are missing out on a very important tool that could help to make your job a little bit easier. So earlier this week, I spoke with Cooper Harris. She is the CEO of Clickly, and she's got some helpful tips that we can use AI to check all those things off our list. Take a look.
So yeah, AI can definitely help in the real world, especially during this kind of crazy shopping season leading up to the holidays. The crazy part is that a lot of us are using AI and we don't realize it. So real world examples would be AI is probably helping you compare prices. It's tracking your shipping delays. It's suggesting gift ideas. It's even auto-generating those wish lists that are based on your browsing behavior. That's all AI.
That's
so less scary than you might think.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that, right? It's like those who are not wanting to hop on board have probably already have been on board and don't even know it. So that's certainly something that's interesting to hear about. So let's talk about using this for holiday shopping. How can we use it maybe if we want to find that perfect gift, Cooper, and not break the bank? What are some tips for us?
Love it. So here's a smart, actionable tip that you can try yourself. You can jump on a platform like ChatGPT, like Perplexity. They're free. Sign up online. And you can say something really specific, like get me 40 ideas under $30 for a dad who loves golf and hates clutter. And that will generate a great list of options. And then you can go deep. It's like your little pal who's helping you create this list.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. I love that. Use it as our pal, something to help us this holiday season. So something I thought was pretty cool, too, is that there's actually ways that we can track pricing. Because I swear, Cooper, you see something one day and then the next day the price is dropped or maybe it's gone up and you want to stay on top of that. So are there ways to track that and maybe get alerts on something when it goes on sale?
You are on top of it. Yes, that is absolutely something that I do personally. So there are tools like Karma, Honey, even ChatGPT can do this, and they can find better prices instantly if you ask them, and they can also send you those alerts when the price drops.
Nice. So what about risks here? Is there something we can do to spot, maybe scams or fake reviews that are popping up everywhere, especially this time of year?
Yeah, so unfortunately, this time of year is prime for those kind of fun, potentially not so real websites that pop up, and a lot of them this year being made by AI, just kind of a byproduct of the tool. And what you can do is you can usually spot them yourself just by looking at the reviews. If they all happened in the last week, probably not real. If none of them have photos and they all sound exactly the same, probably not real. But there's even cleverer things you can do. Scroll down to the footer of the website, click on like the privacy or the terms of service. Those should have the business address. And if you Google that business address and it is not real, do not give them your money. Your product will never arrive.
So we're taking that extra step to avoid getting scammed. So you're the founder and CEO of Cooper of Clickly. Tell us a little bit about what you do and what's offered there.
Yeah, so for the last 5 years, we've leveraged AI to get the right product in front of the right consumer at the right time. We cut out a lot of the steps kind of to navigate to find the product you want, and we'll just serve that product right to the consumer and hope it's what they want. We have predictive algorithms, which do a pretty good job.
All right, turning back to travel, let's take you back to Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, where things are looking up for us as far as flight cancellations and delays. Of course, on the news of the government opening back up. So joining us live out there, we have Fox's Chelsea Torres with just a look at how things are running and what you're hearing out there at the airport. So Chelsea, good morning to you, and thank you so much for being with us. Hey, Chelsea, can you hear me? We got you up live if you can. Chelsea, can you hear me? Live TV, guys. Okay, I guess we don't have Chelsea Torres for you right now. Here's what we'll try to work on here. Let's see, do we want to try Chelsea one more time? Okay, no. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to go to a gentleman that I spoke with earlier this week. If you've ever forgotten someone's name, then you're not alone. In fact, it's happened to all of us. It's also a little bit embarrassing when it does, but there are some ways to work around that and 4 simple ways to try to remember folks' names. So it's an author. His name is Dr. Evan Meisner, and he has a few ways to help us out of that embarrassing situation.
Elise, let me ask you a question. Well, first of all, you said you get embarrassed when you don't meet people, and it's one of the reasons why, and this is a great technique to use. I rarely say nice to meet you because I meet so many people who I have met maybe years earlier, and people, they like to be remembered. So I tend to say, great to see you. And that way, they'll open up and they'll say, yeah, it's great to see you again. We met a few years ago at such and such event. And then you have context and you're able to have a conversation. So great to see you is better than nice to meet you.
That's a small change, but I got to tell you, that's good. That is really good, a small change that can make a really big difference there.
It's gotten me out of a lot of trouble.
I'm sure it has, so we could use that help. Okay, you have 4 tips for us to help us never forget. So get us started. This first one has to do with repeating their name, right, when they tell you.
Yeah. The key is to anchor the name in your mind. And so you want to repeat it. You might want to do something like, I hope you don't mind if I ask, Elise, is Elise short for anything else?
Nope, just Elise, Ivan.
Okay, so now that anchors it for me. When I see you again, it's Elise, just Elise, not Alicia or some other longer name. Elise is your name. So repeat it throughout the conversation. That's the first one. And you use it in the conversation. So as you're talking, you might say to them, so tell me more about what you do, Elise. What do you love doing most? What social media program are you on? And you have a conversation where you get them to talk about, where they're at so you can, follow what they're doing.
I love this next one you have for us. Connect them with other people and say their name, because I feel like that can do a couple things. Help you remember, but then also, you're building connection there as well.
Yeah, so if there's someone in the room that I know, I would say, hey, Frank, let me introduce you to Elise. I've met Elise online. I met her on a Zoom call on TV, and, really nice lady. Elise is her actual name. It's not short for anything. I might say whatever in making an introduction, but making that connection helps you to anchor the name.
Very nice. Okay, also dedicate it to memory.
Yeah, when you're back home, review who you met and who you really want to remember. Now, one technique that I use is I will write on the back of the business card that I get from somebody, I'll write maybe, something interesting about them. I might write, Elise is her real name or her full name or something like that on the back of a card. By the way, just so you know, don't do that in Asia. Writing on a card in Asia is very bad form. But Americans, we'll toss a card, write on a card. I do ask, do you mind if I write on your card? Yeah. But you dedicate it to memory, so when you go back, you can place the face with the name.
Very interesting. So something, it's going to happen, right? We're going to forget. But you say, don't blurt out, sorry, what was your name again? If you're feeling the urge to do that, because you call it a relationship killer. So why is that?
Yeah, people don't like that. I mean, you'd like people to remember who you are. And so rather than say, tell me who you are again, I would say, I know we've met. Because if they act like we've met, then I know we've met, give me some context. So it helps you remember where. And then when they start to give context, it works fine. I mean, a few months back, I met a woman in a grocery store, and I'm like, I know this woman, I know this woman, I know this woman, I can't remember her name. And she said, hi. I said, good to see you. And I said, we don't usually meet in the grocery store. She said, no, I saw you at your fundraiser at your house, a couple months ago. I'm like, yes, how's your husband Ray doing? and so you just get him to open up a little bit, and you're off to the races.
Nice. Okay, Dr. Ivan, we're out of time, but I want to hear really quickly about your new book, Networking is a Marathon and Not a Sprint.
Yeah, it's a long-term thing. We don't teach networking in colleges and universities anywhere in the world. I spoke to a large group of people once, 900 people. I said, how many of you are here hoping to sell something? 900 people raised their hands. I said, how many of you are hoping to buy something? No one raised their hands.
Of course.
And so I'm like, that's the networking disconnect. You gotta understand that networking, it's a marathon. It's about building relationships. Right. It's not a get rich quick scheme. And if you go into it with that in mind, then you can be very successful at it.
Helpful tips to help us try to remember names. So speaking of names, we've got someone joining us now, Fox's Chelsea Torres, who's live at Atlanta's airport with what is happening post-shutdown as far as flights and cancellations. So Chelsea, it's good to see you. Good morning.
Hi, good morning there, Elise. You know, across the country, there's well over 900 delays, well over 600 cancellations. Just here at Hartsfield-Jackson, there's a combined 70 delays and cancellations. So definitely a lot less than what we've seen in the last few days. And I'll tell you that the past few travelers that I've been talking to, they just tell me that they've, yes, had smooth transitions getting to and through Atlanta. But not only that, they're actually really glad that the shutdown is finally over.
Any of this audio of you talking to folks, but if you can just kind of share with us, what they're saying about,
Sure.
These flying right now, because it's stressful all the time, but especially now when there's uncertainty about it.
No, definitely. So one gentleman, he told me that it's really just about time. He was actually surprised that the government shutdown lasted so long. The other woman that I talked to, she just said that when she went through TSA, it kind of dawned on her like, wow, a lot of these officers have been working this entire time, or maybe they haven't, but the fact that they're going 43 days without a paycheck really starts to kind of hit you when you're having to see them every single day or whenever it is that you're traveling. Now, as of right now, the FAA does have a 6% flight reduction, and that's going to stay until the agency can look at some data and really determine if it's safe enough to go back to normal operations. I think the silver lining in all of this as well is that a lot of those air traffic controllers, TSA officers that were going to work every single day, mind you, 43 days without a paycheck, knowing they're not getting paid, they're now getting $10,000 bonus checks just so that way to kind of show that they are what Kristi Noem, the Department Secretary, is saying, Department of Homeland Secretary is saying, patriots. And also Secretary Sean Duffy from the Department of Transportation has also said the same thing. These people are patriots because they worked every single day during the shutdown, so they're getting those $10,000 bonus checks. And really, I mean, that's a big chunk of money, at least for right before the holidays. And I mean, we know that here it's a Delta hub, and even Delta has already said that they're expecting normal operations starting this weekend, and they're just gearing up for Thanksgiving travel.
That's some really good news. I'm so glad you mentioned that part about the checks that those air traffic controllers will be receiving for those who showed up at work. So you mentioned, what Delta said. Have we heard from other airlines? Have they, released any statements or given any indication into how operations should be running in the days ahead?
American kind of said the same thing, not necessarily verbatim, but they did say that they're expecting to get back to normal. They're just going to wait for more air traffic controllers to get back to the towers, get back to work. And I will mention also, we've been kind of checking out the FAA website to see, okay, what exactly does that staffing look like across the board? Last I checked, no air traffic controlling towers are saying that they're having shortages right now. So that's a good day. That's a good Friday, especially as a lot of people, I mean, all morning I've been seeing planes coming in and out around here. I honestly don't know how they do it. How can they go through and plan all of these flights on a regular basis? It's pretty amazing. Yeah, and no, it is. So I think that's one thing that we've been hearing, at least just from the two biggest airlines here.
Yeah, I want to mention this too, Chelsea. At last check, I think it's 52 cancellations at Hartsfield-Jackson today, 27 delays. Both of those numbers, though, are down from what we saw yesterday. So, Chelsea, are you getting a sense from what you've spoken with passengers that there's a sense of optimism? I mean, how are folks feeling about travel right now? Because it's been just up and down and all over the place the past few weeks.
It's been quite a roller coaster of emotions, I feel like, with travelers. When I was first talking to them when these flight reductions happened, everybody was telling me that they were anxious. Every single person used that word, anxious, because they did not know what to expect when Thanksgiving is just about 2 weeks away. But now, after talking to a lot of travelers in the past couple days, they don't really seem as worried. I think some people, they're just constantly checking their flight status to see what's going on. I will tell you, the trade group Airlines for America, they're ready. They said that no Thanksgiving flights have been canceled. scheduled and that all airlines should be ready to go. So as of now, I would keep your travels. I know I am. So I'm just going to wait it out and see what happens.
That's some good advice, and fingers crossed things go off without a hitch and continue to improve at airports around the country. But Fox's Chelsea Torres joining us live at Hartsfield-Jackson. Chelsea, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Elise.
Our time is 11:46. Hey everyone, welcome back. What a treat we have for you right now. 86-year-old Kim Noor isn't slowing down. If anything, you could say she's speeding up in a really big way. She's a skydiving pioneer and just completed her 1,000th jump. 1,000th, marking a milestone that most athletes would never even dream of reaching. So Kim is joining us live just to talk about, what she's done and the big award that she received. So Kim, it's so good to have you with us. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here.
Hey, first of all, congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yes.
It's been a long haul. I started jumping in 1959. Then family gets in the way, and you do what you have to do. And finally, I'm free to finish it up, get my 1,000 jumps.
That's what you've done, and it's truly amazing. So let's start with this 1,000th jump. I mean, you knew it was coming. In fact, we've been following you here at Fox 5 and on Good Day Atlanta for several jumps now. So we've known that this day was coming, and we've been cheering you on and running your story and talking about you. So how did it feel the moment that your feet landed on the ground from that 1,000th jump?
Oh, it was fantastic. I just had to jump up and down and cheer and just, I mean, it was a thrill to finally have accomplished my dream.
Yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing. So this jump meant as well that you reached this really big milestone. In fact, the Golden Wings Award is now yours. That's from the United States Parachute Association. So tell us what that means to you. I think we're seeing video of you making this jump as well. So what's it mean to be the recipient of that?
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun because I had my friends all in the air with me, and also on the jump were my two daughters and a granddaughter.
Wow.
And so it was a big celebration. See, they're all coming in.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what have
Yeah.
they said about this? I mean, it's not everyone that can say that their mom or their friend has accomplished what you have in the skies. So what are they saying?
Well, they're very happy for me. A lot of the skydiving friends that I have, they already have 5,000 jumps, 8,000. The man that took me, Jay Stokes, has 28,000 jumps.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So, some people say, well, why do you want to bother with 1,000? It's because I started out, when I started out, 1,000 was the top of the mountain. That was the highest you could go. And there weren't any people that were getting there yet when I started. But then, I continued jumping and then I got married and had a family and all those things that goes on. And it was just a thrill to finally have accomplished what I started to do and to have my family with me. That was just, wow. And the person that took me, Jay Stokes, took me on my first tandem. I had to use the tandems to finish up my 1,000 jumps because by that time I was in my 80s. I'm 86 now, and they just figured it's safer, and you have all the best parachutists that already have thousands of jumps to take you on this tandem, like you see in the picture there.
Yeah. So what is it about this? I mean, are you just a little adrenaline junkie? Like, I mean, what makes you do this?
I found out about it, parachuting, and that people can use parachutes to get out of airplanes and land safely when I was 6 years old. At the end of World War II, my uncle came back, and he had jumped out of a burning plane and landed safely in the parachute. And I thought, oh, my gosh, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. I have to do it. And from that point forward, till I finally made my first jump when I was 20 years old.
Incredible.
The opportunity opened, and I feel better in the sky than I do walking around. It's a joy and it's a thrill to be up there.
Oh,
and I just thank God every day that I can do it.
Yeah, no doubt, and have been doing it for a long time. So I've never been skydiving before, Kim. It's one of those things that, and I'm sure unless you've done it, it's hard to explain what that experience is like. But how long are you in the air from the time that you jump out of the plane until you're on the ground? Like, what are we talking about there? Is it seconds? Is it minutes? Like, put that into perspective for us.
It's about 5 minutes. When you leave the plane, you're in free fall, and you're flying at 125 miles an hour, or you're falling that fast, and you don't feel like you're falling because you have all the air around you holding you up. And once you open your parachute, I like to ride in the sky. I love to be under the canopy and just float around up there. So I always open high and ask my tandem master to open high for me. And so I've got a good 5-6 minutes under the canopy sometimes.
That is just amazing. So for someone who's watching right now at home and maybe following you, and they're like, she's 86 years old. What is she still doing skydiving? What is it that keeps drawing you back? And how do you stay so mentally and physically fit to be able to do this? Because, Kim, it's one thing to want to do this, and it's another to be able to actually accomplish this in the way that you have.
Well, it's an outdoor sport. So the whole secret's to be outdoors. All the outdoor sports, you notice the people live longer, skiing and playing golf and doing outdoor things. And I think that's helpful, number one. And then number two, there's so much positive energy that you feel around the drop zones and with people that are doing this sport. And everybody's so excited and so happy to be able to go up in the sky and to get together like you saw formations and stuff. And and you're just around these positive people. And my feeling is you never can stop having your dreams. And if this is something on your bucket list you want to do, then I say don't waste any more time. Go do it, because it's probably the safest sport there is right now. You're in more trouble driving down the highway or just around town than you are skydiving.
Yeah. And that's a good point, because I know that's the truth, right? You hear of occasionally something happen, but the bottom line is it is a pretty safe sport for you to be involved in. So, I mean, I got to know, you mentioned that you took a step back from skydiving when you got married and you had your family, but what was it that drew you back into it? I mean, it's like you couldn't stay out of the sky forever. You made your way back up. So, yeah, what drew you back?
I went to a reunion of pioneers, which I was one of those. And we had this reunion, and everybody was happy and seeing each other again and so forth. And some of them were still skydiving or had come back into the sport. And so they said, well, why don't you just come and make a jump for the grandchildren? And, that's like saying eat one peanut.
Right.
It doesn't happen that way.
Doesn't happen.
So I went back and made that jump, and boom, I'm back in it again.
Certainly so. Okay, so the big question here, I mean, you completed your 1,000th jump, so do we have the 1,001 jump coming soon? I mean, where are you going from here, Kim?
Well, I think I might go 1001. I started out writing a book, and as I was gathering information at some drop zones to write this book, I got back into the sport again and got active, in it. And so now people said, well, why don't you go for 2,000? And I said, well, I have more free time now than I did for the first 1,000, so maybe I will. Right now, my little gift to myself and my dream is to jump over the pyramids in Egypt. Nice. I'll be doing that sometime within the year.
That is incredible. That's amazing. So I'm guessing this is something you're going to be documenting so that we can continue to follow along and cheering you on, Kim?
Sure. Yeah, I would love to do that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I got to tell you, we're so proud of you. We're so happy for you, and we can't wait to see what you continue to accomplish. Kim Noor joining us there. Kim, thank you so much. And again, we wish you all the best, and congrats again on this incredible milestone.
I have one thing to say, is that dreams have no ending. They have no expiration date. So get out there and do your dreams.
I love it. Kim Noor joining us today. Kim, thank you so much for that. We certainly appreciate it. What a treat to have her on. All right, we've got more news and weather updates headed your way at noon. We hope you have a great Friday. Thanks for joining us.
Now at noon, a new prosecutor will take over the Fulton County election interference case against President Trump and others, while veteran prosecutor Peter Skandalakis appointed himself to now lead the case. And the Cartersville man accused of threatening to shoot up the world's busiest airport goes before a federal judge.